Hey guys, Cobra DVS here. Welcome to another video. Today is the first video. I don't know if I'll make this a series of videos or not, but it is my first upgrade on Getaway, or the first change I'm making. It's a pretty easy one as far as I understand it, but one that everybody recommends. So today what we're going to be doing is upgrading the ROM, the software level of the game, with this chip. So for Getaway, there's like 5 or 6 different software levels that I read about. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then there's a couple other ones I think too. Most people recommend software level 2, although quite a few people also use software level 5. Not sure what 3, 4, and frankly even 1. I'm not sure really what's wrong with them specifically. My guess would be bugs, glitches, things like that. So for some reason, 2 is preferred over 3 and 4. 5 would make sense. It's a later level. And then there's a couple of other ones too, but I don't really know anything about them. So I've never done anything with a board other than like a board on the playfield that uses or that houses light sockets and stuff. Real simple stuff. When it comes to like boards like this that have, information and data and chips that store or have software loaded onto them, whatever, there's a whole new ballpark for me. But it sounds like this is just really super easy. So it is simply a plug and play type of thing. You take the chip out. It looks like this, about 1.5 inches long. I don't know, 1/2 inch wide. You pop out the existing one. You put this one in. You should be good to go. You just got to make sure it's powered off. And there's a couple of other troubleshooting things too. But I figured I'd make this video because this is my first time doing it, and I know if it were my first time doing it, I'd like to see a video on it. I'm not sure if there is one, but I figured I would do it anyways. Real quick before I do it, just to let you know where I got this from Matt's Basement Arcade. There is the card that he sent with the ROM. So if you want to check it out, hopefully that's not backwards in the video. Maybe it will be. I don't know. But mattsbasementarcade.com. So check them out there. Not only stuff like this where there's official software releases, but then there's some like custom and homebrew. I don't know if homebrew is the right word, but homebrew type software. There's even some for mousing around, which I think I'm okay leaving my mousing around as it is. There's a loophole, I guess you could call it, with the center ramp that they try to address. But I have my game kind of mechanically set up to address that, where there's a ball stop bracket on the return loop from that center loop that mine was missing. They just had it on the other. It was missing on the other side where the outer ramps come back in. I took it off of the one that returns the center loop. And so when the ball comes back in, it comes flying in. So to continuously do that shot is incredibly difficult. Anyway, this video is not about mousing around, but do check out Matt's Basement Arcade. There's a lot of cool stuff on there if you're interested. So I have read the installation instructions on what to do. Essentially, it is this. Turn the game off. I've turned it off and I've unplugged it just to reduce any chance of there being electricity on the thing. Second, you want to make sure that the chip is oriented the correct way. I don't know if you can see, but right towards the top, there's a little notch right there. Very small notch. That notch has to align with the way that the notch is oriented in the game currently. Sometimes where you place them, it'll have a marking that kind of helps you figure it out. According to the install instructions, sometimes chips have notches. Sometimes they might have a line or something. Sometimes they might have an arrow. What it's meant to designate, apparently, is the first pin. So one of these, I'm not sure which one it is, but is the first pin. And it just has to you have to make sure that it goes in the right way. If it's not, it will burn up the chip and potentially fry the board. That's a no-no. I absolutely don't want to do that. So I'm going to be very careful about orienting this the correct way. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and grab a screwdriver, maybe a pair of pliers to help maneuver the level 1 chip that I have in there, which, by the way, that's what mine has in there, is the L1 software. So we're upgrading to L2. Pliers and a screwdriver, do it very carefully. and I'll try to film it. Now, I'm not, again, this is using my laptop. I'm not really going to use my phone. I'm not set up for any professional type, cinematography or anything. But so I'm going to try and do it the best I can to show you what I'm doing. I might pull up my phone to do some close-up stuff to kind of show you exactly what I'm looking at. But without further ado, let's get at it. Okay, so I'm assuming if you are watching this, you probably know how to take off your back glass, open up the door, all of that. So I'm gonna go ahead and skip that. Now, I'll walk you through how I do this, and then together we'll find out at the end if it works. Fingers crossed. So here are all the boards. The one you're looking for on Getaway is right here. It's pretty obvious when you're looking in here. I will bring it up close so you can see what it says on it. Maybe you can read it. It says the Getaway U6 ROM 1 LA1. I'm assuming LA1 is the same as L1, referring to software revision level 1. That's where it is. Looking at it here, I can see where the notch is. What I'm going to do, and I recommend this when you do anything, on a pinball machine, is to take a picture of everything before you touch it. It's helped me a lot in mousing around when I'm dealing with mechanical issues. So I'm going to go ahead and take a picture of this. Ideally, I want that picture to show the notch in case I start taking this thing out and I'm like, oh crap, I can't remember where the notch was. Now what I can see is that on the PCB, there's an outline of the chip and it actually shows where the notch is printed on the PCB. So it should be really easy, but better safe than sorry. So I'm going to go ahead and get this thing out. I'm going to be very careful. I'm going to try and pry it up with a screwdriver. I have some needle nose pliers. I've also got a headlamp. I've thrown a couple extra lights around here, so hopefully the lighting's okay, but I shouldn't need the headlamp. Were I doing this on my own or without these extra lights, absolutely, I would use a headlamp. So let's go ahead and get started here. So it's in there fairly tight. Okay. Without putting too much pressure on the PCB, I don't want to bend it too much. I'm going to go ahead and try and figure out a good way to get this thing out, and then we'll resume the video. Okay, so I was able to get it out. Unfortunately, I didn't capture it on camera. I tried getting a smaller screwdriver to pry up in under there. That didn't really work. What wound up working the best was just trying to get a small pair of needle nose pliers and just kind of pulling it outward. And that seemed to pop it out pretty good. Looks like it bent a couple of pins on the end at the opposite end of the pliers, where the pliers were. I don't know if you'll be able to tell. See the last couple there, a little bit bent, but it looks like they can bend right back into place. Ideally, I won't be using this one again, so but I do want to keep it. Ooh, I do want to keep it for a spare. So I'll tell you what, I'll put it right into this one, right into this little thing here. So, so let's go ahead and put the new one in. It seats right into this black piece of plastic. I don't know. You can see right where the pins go. It should be relatively simple. The only thing I want to be careful of is I don't want to put any excess pressure on the PCB. I don't want it to be flexing. Now they're flexible in their nature a little bit anyway. Especially one that's that size, but I still don't want to push it more than necessary. So let's go ahead and try and put this thing right in, making sure the notch is in the correct orientation, and it appears to be. Okay, it appears to be in. I will push on it a little bit more just to make sure it's seated properly. It looks like it might be able to slide in a little bit more, so let's do that now. Okay, it appears to be in there pretty good. There's really not much left to do besides plug this thing back in and see how it works. Now, when I start it up, It should reference level 2 on the startup screen, whereas it previously would reference level 1. So let's go ahead and put everything back together, and then we'll start it up. Okay, so moment of truth. We're going to turn this thing on. This is where you should be focusing. That's what'll likely tell us 100% that everything went through. Of course, if something else happens, I will, I'll be able to tell more or less also. So, or something else happens down here, I should know, but I can't really imagine what would. So, let's turn it on. Flip the switch down here. Factory settings restored. Okay. I guess that would make sense. Yeah. I don't need them anyway. There's some lights on. I don't... see, the trans lights are on. Some lights on the playfield are on. Looks like it's the GI. Looks like the GI is on. But this is continuing to just say that. Let me try hitting OK or enter. Test report. Shifter error. Well, that wouldn't be good, would it? High speed 2, system 231. Press enter for main menu. Let's hit exit. See if it starts the game up. Rev L2, that's good. I'll press that enter one more time. Well, actually, no, I'll leave it as it is. Shifter error would mean the shifter is the plunge in this game. Let's try a game. I'll leave the laptop to where it is. Well, let's go ahead and try a game. Make sure everything looks okay. I'm looking at the lights. Everything is flashing. The exception being the free ride light, which normally doesn't flash in this mode anyway. But everything else appears to be working okay. These are not flashing. I can't remember if oh, sorry, you can't see that, but the Supercharger and Redline Mania lights are not flashing. Can't remember if they normally did or not on this mode, but let's go ahead and throw a couple quarters in. And we'll see what happens. Okay, this sounds like it might be loud, so let's, if it's loud, sorry. Shifter worked just fine. Shifter worked just fine again. Okay, so after playing it for a minute, the first time I got it up into the burn rubber kick out thing, it triggered multi-ball, and multi-ball wouldn't end. So it's almost like I couldn't drain. If it drained, it would just kick it back into the shooter lane and kick the ball back out. Um, I'll go ahead and look into it. I'll post an update at the end of this video once it's fixed. But that seems to be the only issue. Everything else worked okay. I didn't see any issues. Supercharger worked just fine. All the lights seemed to be working. The callouts were there. The lock. Did I lock? I don't think I got the lock, so I actually I'll have to check that. But everything seemed to be okay. I'll run through some factory or some of the the tests to check everything. But once I figure out that issue, I'll post that here at the I'll put a follow up at the end of this video.